Hello, welcome to Creative Panoply on Savvy Writers TV. My name is Folakemi. On this program, we'll be bringing you creative from different fields. We'll have writers, editors, graphic designers. They will discuss various topics pertaining to their field, yes. So on this first edition of Creatives Panoply, I'm going to be talking about writer's block and why you need to prioritize your mental health as a writer. I know how worrisome it can be, especially when you have deadlines to meet. I mean, what do you want to tell your clients? Well, how can you cope with the pressure to deliver when you don't have an idea about what to write? All this and more are what we'll be discussing today, and I have with me a guest on the show. Yes, he's a prolific business writer who has been in the writing industry for over 8 years or more. 8 years no be been, so guys. So if you want to know who I'm talking about, then stay tuned and we'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back, guys. You're still tuned to Savvy Writers TV. So before the break, I told you I had a prolific business writer with me here who has been writing for 8 years, like 8 good years. But let me just cut the chase. His name is Adekunle Ijaya with the I. You're welcome, Kunle.
Hello, guys. It's good to be here.
Thank you so much. So, guys, the meaning of Ijaya, like Ijaya. Okay, let me not say it. Let him say it himself. Like, tell us the meaning of your name in Yoruba.
So, for those who don't understand Yoruba language, it basically means something that elicits fear. So, if you attribute it to a human, of course, then it will be he that elicits fear. Or if it's a she that is carrying the surname. So, yeah.
Okay, Ijaya. But I'm not afraid, though. I'm not afraid. Like, I'm gallant.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
So today we are talking about writer's block. But before we delve into the topic, do you believe writer's block exists?
Definitely. Writer's block does exist. There is even academic research that points at this. A particular researcher, Mike Rose, is a professor, a research professor at UCLA. He was the first, I think, in the 18 something, I'm not particularly sure about that. He went through a whole research process and basically just identified that yes, writer's block does exist, and no, it is not from a general lack of motivation / laziness. So,
okay,
yeah.
So writer's block do exist. That school has an academician. So yeah. So if you're saying writer's block do exist, what exactly is writer's block?
Writer's block is basically, in a simple sentence, writer's block is the point at which a writer starts to lose, experiences a stall in their creative expression, or a complete stop.
Okay, so it's like, would I say it's a psychological thing or is it a mental thing?
Definitely, it is a psychological thing. There are some research that are pointing at other things.
Okay.
The research is still ongoing, but writer's block is a psychological thing. It is from the space of your mind, because basically that's where most of the creativity is coming from. So, be it that you're a business writer like myself, or you are a storyteller like myself,
storyteller, business writer. Okay,
or
okay,
you are anything else where you're getting something from your mind, not necessarily just writers, actually, but predominantly writers, you will at one point in time experience writer's block. So,
okay. So there's something they call writer's burnout, and there's something they call writer's block. But sometimes we interchange both. I know I do that sometimes, but what is writer's block and what's writer's burnout?
Awesome. So writer's burnout and writer's block, yes, are typically they are usually interchanged.
Okay.
But they are very different. Writer's block is more of a psychological thing, like we've already established. But writer's burnout, now that is something that will manifest itself in a more physical form. However, writer's block might not necessarily manifest itself in a more physical form. Let me explain. Writers' burnout could manifest itself in form of then you are feeling like super lethargic, really weak. Okay. However, writer's burnout, writer's block, you could wake up from bed feeling refreshed and everything, and you're just staring at that white blank sheet of paper, and you just can't bring yourself to create anything. So writer's burnout usually expresses itself in a more physical form, and it's from the space of creating content for a long period of time with very minimal amount of rest. So,
Actually, I like the way you call it, writer's burnout. Okay, so you're saying writer's burnout is not, it's as a result of stress, like overworking yourself as a writer. Then the writer's block is just something that it happens. So like it happens to all creatives?
Yes, it happens to all creatives. And I'm saying all because as long as you have a working brain and you are a creative, you will experience it. Writer's block is more like, there are two explanations. There is the one simpler explanation that is from the space of the causative factor is the work you are working on itself was too big. You came up with an idea that was far too big for you to be able to handle. At that instance, the work itself could intimidate you and trigger writer's burnout, writer's block, kind of like a psychological thriller. I said thriller. Like a psychological trigger. And then the more scientific definition will be from the space of, sorry, I'm going to get a little technical here. There are two aspects in your brain that are involved in the creative process. There is the limbic aspect, that's the limbic aspect of your brain, and then there is the cerebral cortex of your brain. The cerebral cortex is more of an intentional aspect of your brain. Meanwhile, the limbic is more linked to instincts. It is something you are practically born with. So, like a system that when it begins to overheat, the system might stall or shut down. The limbic aspect of your brain will step in and block the cerebral cortex from working for any reason whatsoever. It could be that you were distracted, and that was the period where the limbic aspect of your brain stepped in and was like, okay, I think your brain needs rest. You could be, the project could be too big, or it could be that you have been beating your mind over and over again, trying to, maybe iron out an idea or something, and then the limbic aspect of your brain stepped in and blocked it, kind of like a fail-safe. So, do not necessarily fear a writer's block. In fact, by fearing it, you are most probably inviting it to stay longer. It's better to embrace it. When you embrace it, you can so find yourself. You were talking about some factors, some symptoms actually, symptoms that causes writer's block. So what are those symptoms? Can you be more specific? Like I said, first and foremost, it could be the work in and of itself that scares you. Not scared like you're terrified, but consciously or unconsciously, it rattles your mind, and then your mind might begin to think that doesn't have the capability to conceive of the idea. There is also, and I'm very careful so that we are not confusing it with writer's burnout, there's also the aspect of you have been creating for too long that when you are on another project, for some inexplainable reason, you just stall. You are unable to create, and this is something that you are very familiar with, and for some interesting reason, you find yourself wondering, how far now? Where the idea? So something like that. There are other numerous reasons too in the space of you're hungry. That could be a cause of
hunger.
So every other instance where you now pick up the work and you try and write, there's already a psychological imprint in your head that you might not be hungry in that instance, but the psychological imprint in your head that is linked to the stall will just bring it up. So there's just a myriad of causes.
So let me personalize it to you now. You said it happens to all, so I believe you're part of the all because you've shown yourself as a storyteller. You also showed yourself as a psychologist just now. So tell me precisely, like, your experience with the writer's block phenomenon.
A couple of times, a couple of instances where I have experienced writer's block. the beauty about business writing is that it is built on formats.
Okay.
What separates a regular business writer from an exceptional business writer is the creativity aspect, where you can bring unique innovations into an age-old tested method, and it is still in line with the objective of whatever project you are doing. That creativity aspect is where the writer's block. I experienced writer's block, and in the space of where I was telling a story to, it was bad. I was just staring at the system. There was just no. You can even see that I'm kind of fidgeting.
Okay, wait. So you were writing a story.
Yeah.
So now it was when you were writing a story, not like when you were writing a business project, like business writing.
Yeah.
Project.
So
okay,
when I was writing a story, and actually one instance where I was writing a business.
Why not let's focus on the story part? I think I'm interested in that.
So I was writing a story and I got lost in the characterization of each character, and then by building and fleshing out these characters to the point where if you read the characterization, you will know why the character is doing like this or like that in the story became too big. It became so big that it took me about 4 years to finish the
4 years.
The chapterization of the story.
Wow.
And now that I've finished the chapterization of the story, it is so big and so detailed that there is a part of me that is a little weary going back to actually penning down this. So the chapterization is practically so detailed that you could almost read it as a story. So yeah, I have my own personal experience with writer's block.
So at that moment when you finished the characterization, you were stuck, or before you finished it?
I was already stuck. I was just not conscious of it. I just kept on beating, and at one point in time I started taking bits and pieces of actual logic to try and say, okay, this character will do this because it makes sense if it does this. And the creativity was ebbing out, and the business aspects, the analytical business aspect of my writing was coming in. It was not necessarily a problem because it is just the chapterization I'm doing, and not the actual storytelling.
Okay.
So yeah.
About 4 years, like 4 years.
4 solid years.
Like you've not even finished writing the story, like just.
I'm not just there.
That's a long time.
Hopefully,
that's a long time. So what did you actually do to get out of it?
It might sound counterproductive, but I wrote myself out of it.
Interesting.
So there's the aspect of just constantly writing, whether it is rubbish or good. I'm not for that. But there's the other aspect of writing yourself out of it is writing about the experience. So in the process of writing about the experience, I found steam and a passion for the story again. There's another causative factor for writer's block where perfectionism comes into play. I think it also probably played into myself, where I was so insistent on getting the characters just right that I unconsciously led myself into a writer's block.
So how did you get out of that perfectionism state? Like, how did you get out of it?
It is okay. So after writing myself out of it, being that I wrote about the experience.
So that's journaling, right?
Journaling.
Okay.
I came to the realization that there is even a story to tell in the imperfect stories. So the characters didn't need to be just right. They just needed to be human.
Oh yeah,
and
humans
to be
are
human,
perfect. Humans are not perfect.
To be human is to err.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, humans are not perfect. Like that, I can tell. So you've told us you were about to say a business writing experience that you had. So just share that before.
So the aspect of the creativity that would have come into the business writing did not. So I was churning out contents. However, they were not. Each one was beginning to look similar to the other and wasn't standing out. Thankfully, I think at the third projects that I was pushing out before I started working here. Personally, before I started working here, it was at the third projects that I came to the realization that I think I have hit a writer's block and I needed space to recharge. So,
okay. So there is that part of writer's block and there's that part of laziness. I know you mentioned earlier laziness, because sometimes writers tend to procrastinate, and they hide under the umbrella of writer's block. There's no idea coming in. Well, of the real fact is, they actually don't want to write, or they feel like it's a burden, or let's say the workload.
So at that point in time, there is a point, and there's a point in what you're saying. I think three things come into play. There's the aspect of when you find yourself procrastinating.
Okay.
It could just simply be indiscipline.
Okay. Indiscipline. Yeah, that's true.
However, the other 2 points are serious issues that you should keep in mind. There is the aspect of your body consciously or unconsciously telling you that there is something up, and you should look into it. That's probably burnout. And then there's the aspect of where you find yourself procrastinating and you don't know why. Like, you wake up in the morning and the plan is to get on it, and then you're like, maybe after an hour, maybe after 2 hours, you find yourself. That could also be your mind. That could also be the limbic aspect of your brain taking over, trying to push you away from overheating. And then unconsciously or consciously, you've led yourself into a...
Okay, so your body is telling on you, like, you really need to rest, you really need to take a break. Definitely. So that talks about writers actually taking care of their health. And that's not just mental health. Like, they need to do some things to keep fit. Because the truth is, you're on your system all day, you're working probably into the night if your project demands this. Like, what can you do to incorporate that healthy lifestyle as a writer?
So, there are the greats that are far ahead of us that paved the way.
Okay.
I've forgotten her name. Angelina? What's her name? Margaret Atwood, Tom Clancy. These people have made very provocative statements saying things like they wrote 500 words every day. It's possible. However, I am pretty sure that they also put into consideration their own mental health and their physical health.
True.
They would have probably gotten a meal to have in between writing every day. They would have taken a break, taken a stroll, because art is the imitation of life, and if you haven't experienced life, then you cannot create art. So you have to step back away from the white pages and actually see the colorful aspects of life. You have to take a stroll, for instance, share a meal with a friend, hear a conversation from a spouse or a lover. You know, those general life experiences help bring flavor, so to speak, to your storytelling. So yes, you need to prioritize both physical and mental health.
So let me just ask this personal question. Personally, what is that, would I say, your health secret? Like, that one thing you do that you feel like everybody should do is like...
The general health secret?
No, not general, actually, specifically to you.
Well, it could sound counterproductive, but I have learned to build a structure around my day. So I make sure that in that structure there's leeway for flexibility, and in that structure there's also leeway for something unique, something odd, something that it is not necessarily structured. Let me give an example. So there is you wake up in the morning, you have a cup of water, you brush your teeth, you do the morning rituals that you go through. I try and insert something that is different from the standard morning ritual. Your standard morning ritual is to just get ready and get to the day's work. I would insert something like, okay, let's do a 20 minutes workout. That breaks the monotony, but at the same time still adds to the structure, being that it breaks the monotony of just waking up, getting ready for work and going. It breaks it. But at the same time, it adds structure, being that in the back of your mind, you know that, okay, well, today is the day where it's time for workouts. It also has an healthy effect on your body.
Definitely.
And your mind.
Definitely.
I can also add the aspect of, so you know that you have a 9 to 5 and you have to be at work every day. One of those 9 to 5, add movie nights. Make sure that you don't add it in a period where you have deadlines, but add movie nights, for instance, or treat yourself to something nice outside of what you typically do. These these things, I don't know how to put it in a sentence as a health tip, but breaking the monotony while still somewhat staying structured is a nice health tip that I'd like to tell people works for me. So you could try it.
Okay, so thank you for the health tip. So I would actually add eating fruits to eat. Like I love fruits. So what I do is fruits I know I don't really like, I juice it. So I just blend orishishi kind of fruits and drink and just do. So exercise regularly, eating good food, and drinking water. Like drinking water, I think that's also very refreshing. So before we go, Kunle, I would want to ask you a question. Yeah, a question, just one question. So, in 20 seconds, I want you to mention African author, to be precise, African authors. Like, mention 5 African authors in 20 seconds. So your time start now.
Does it have to? I know my time is already going, but does it have to be?
If you finish explaining, your time as 20 seconds has already, like, it is fast.
No, wala. So first and foremost, I will say
20 seconds. Okay, let's start again. In 20 seconds, list 5 African authors now.
Wole Soyinka.
1,
Chinua Achebe.
2,
Chimamanda.
3.
I'm going to cheat a bit. President Olusegun Obasanjo, ex-president. He has a book.
Okay, that's nice.
Nelson Mandela. He wrote a book too. So I got away with that.
Okay, that's nice. You actually made the 20 seconds count down. Like, wow, that's good.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing those things with us, Kunle. Like, we really appreciate. I'm sure writers out there appreciate this things you told them, how to stay healthy, and prioritizing their mental and physical health is very important for them to keep that creative juice flowing like they really need. Thank you so much, Kunle. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. And thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. So that's it, guys. With that, we wrap up the maiden episode of Creative Panoply. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Thank you so much for staying with us. And to my amiable colleague, Adekunle Ijaya, thank you so much for coming on the show. And guys, if you've not been eating fruits and vegetables, drinking water, or doing exercises, you need to start now to keep yourself fit both physically and mentally. So if you've not subscribed to our channel, I would advise you do that now. Like, click the notification button and subscribe. And if you want to get notifications about our content, you can also click the bell icon on your screen to get more notifications as we upload our videos, because we'll be bringing amazing people. I'm sure you enjoyed Kunle today, and we will be bringing more amazing creatives, yes, from writers to editors to graphic designers. They will be sharing with us their experiences in their fields on interesting topics that I'm sure you can relate to. I'm sure the writer's block is something you can relate to and you don't want to miss the next one we'll be bringing to your screen. So thank you so much for watching. Till next time I come your way, I'm still Folakemi. Bye.